Hey guys, in this video we're making some gameplay. So before we go right into it, I want to thank you guys for my subscribers. Thank you for subscribing, thank you for your help, thank you for your support. Let's get right into the video. So open your Unity and we're right where we stopped. This is a new player I just added. As you can see, I don't like opening my project and then I see the same thing, like it's just boring, so I just felt like tweaking this. So I'll explain this at the end of the video, but for now let's create some gameplay. So we're going to be using this is y-axis, this is z-axis, this is x-axis. So right click, perspective off, and it makes it 2D. Then when you turn on your perspective, it turns it back to 3D, and you can see it from this angle and that angle and every angle. So to create our gameplay, first of all, we're going to make prefabs. Create a folder, right click, create folder. We're going to name this prefab. So prefab are like primary keys of all your objects. So if you change anything with a prefab, it will affect all the other objects. You understand more when I use this. So drag a player here, drag a cube here, drag a ground here. I think those are all the things I'll be repeating in all the levels. Player, we put in there, ground, we put it in there, and then cube, we put it in there. So we're going to name this cube obstacle, because our obstacles are going to be cubes. So obstacles, okay, this makes sense. So we're going to delete this, delete this, delete this. So the first things first, we're going to bring this cube to our view. That's by bringing it to where the player is. I can easily set this z, because z is how far and close to the player, so like far and close. So if I reduce this to, you can see it's coming closer. So let's keep this at 0, 0, and into the player. So our gameplay has 3 lanes, so we're going to duplicate our ground. So we're going to Control D. So click the first one that you just duplicated. Then we're going to change the position on the x-axis to -6. It has moved to the left, yeah, because obviously -6 is to the left of the number line. So ground, the second one that we just duplicated, we're going to add +6, so to go to the right. So now we have 3 lanes. Our cube, let's create, we have to be organized. Let's create an empty object to hold everything. Let's say lane, yes. So we're going to put our 3 grounds in there. Okay, that's cool. So if I off this, everything's going off. So okay, then we're going to create another object, empty. We're going to call this obstacles. Okay, so we're going to put cube in here, because cube are going to be obstacles, and mind you, there are going to be plenty of cubes. So the first thing we're going to do is to turn off our perspective and then change this to top so that we can see it as a grid. Change to our hand tool, move backwards, and we can see everything from our plan view, that's from above. So we're going to rearrange, go to the move tool, we're going to rearrange this cube and create a gameplay, an obstacle arrangement. So move this to the left and increase the size on the X to 3. So let's be wider, 0.33. So okay, yeah, you can see it here, it's wider. So we're going to duplicate, Control D, make sure you tap the object you want to duplicate, then Control D. So we're going to drag this, it just duplicated, trust me, it always does that. So change this back to 1. We're going to move this to the middle, so it's in the middle, 0 to be sure. Okay, now let's move this here so that the first lane will be clean for you to pass. Then on to the next step, like the next step of creating the obstacle. Just keep duplicating and placing them according to how you want them to be. I'm just randomly placing them right now, so and I hope it's not too hard. Let's play. Let's reduce our speed so we can move slowly. Let's set this to 1100. Okay, play to the left. Okay, I fell. Okay, jump. Okay, that's the end. Okay, no more obstacles. So you see, that's basically how to arrange your game. You can arrange more obstacles, like you can arrange millions of obstacles, and you can also define where you want your game to end or where you want your game to start. So that's it for the gameplay. Let's reduce our jump drop a little bit because it was dropping too hard. Let's say 0.4. To the left and to the right, the drop. drop. Yeah. Oh, I fell. So okay, now gameplay, when we hit we should die, but we're not dying, we're still falling. So we're going to close the obstacle, close the lanes, right click, create empty. We're going to come this game manager, so add component, new script should be game manager, so create, and it has created it. This is our game manager, so we open it, let's do some code.
Yes sir, yes sir.
So first of all, we want our game manager to control when our game restarts, and we want to restart our game when our player hits an obstacle and when our player falls. So how do we do that? We do that on our update, because we need to be checking every frame, we need to be checking every second whether he hits so that we can end the game and restart, or whether he fell so that we can end the game and restart. So void update, this will run every time, every second. So we're writing all our code to check all those in here. So we're going to say we want to check if the player is falling. And how do we check if the player is falling? We did that in our player movement video. If you watched it, this is it. So if the player is falling below -3 on the y-axis, that is literally falling on the y-axis, we should reload the scene. We're now reloading the scene 0, and the scene 0 was the scene we want. So we're just going to cut this and come to game manager and place it in the update. So it's going to do this every update. And scene manager is not recognized because we did not add the Unity package that contains the scene manager functions. So Unity engine .scene management will recognize this. Okay, good. And then RB, there is no RB as a variable here. Why? Because RB was a variable in our player movement. So for our game manager to recognize what RB is, we're going to reference our player movement. So public, because player movement is public, player movement, we're going to call this move. Okay, now in our move is a player movement. Consider it. This is just any string, any word you can use to reference this. So in our move we have RB. That's saying in our player movement we have the variable RB. So this is how to reference it. Player movement move. So move.rb, meaning move dot the rigid body of the player, the transform the position, the everything. Yes. So if this happens, it's going to restart. So I'm going to say if this happens, it's going to restart, and we're going to go to our player collision, and we're going to add to restart the scene. Remember, to restart the scene is just this. This is the only code to restart the scene. This is reloading the scene. Load scene 0, restarting the scene. We're going to add this to our collision. So we're going to save. So this game manager is going to check if our player is lower than -3, so to restart the scene. And our player collision is going to check if we collide with an obstacle, so that it's a quarter of our movement, and then restart the scene. So how do we restart the scene? Scene manager is not recognize the player collision because we didn't call the package. So Unity engine .scene management. Yes, so it recognizes, so it's going to do this. So we can also add the same thing here. So if I'm falling, it should cut off our movement. So movement that's enabled goes to false to clear all, So if I click play, click maximize on play, then if you click play, okay, this is an error. Object reference not set to instance object. What does that mean? Game manager is asking us for our player movement, so it's on our player. We're going to drag a player in. Yes, so that should work. So play, so I can move left and right. If I fall, my game restarts. If I hit an obstacle, my game should restart. Yeah, my game restarts. I restarted too quickly. That's boring. We need to see the player needs to see his failure. So I can say restart. I can create a method in collision. Void restart in normal collision, the normal method. Let's make this public so that we can see it. Public void restarts. Then we can put this in here, and then we come to our collision and say invoke means to call that method and then add a time to it, a time that you want it to run. So invoking is that function that can run another function after a particular amount of time that you have set. So invoke what? We're going to invoke restart after how many seconds? Say 2 seconds. Let's put it on float to be safe. So restart is a function, is a method, so you have to put it in quotation. So we're going to invoke restart after 2 seconds. Invoking restart is invoking this, meaning restarting the game after 2 seconds after colliding with an obstacle. So that should work immediately. If I click play and I collide with an obstacle, it starts after 2 seconds. Good. So 1, 2. Yo, it's working. So let's try to play and not hit the obstacle. And there's some nice cues after 2 seconds. You can see all the physics jamming and all. Oh, no way. I can restart after 2 seconds. If I should fall, restart immediately. But if I should hit an obstacle, restart after 2 seconds. So you can see all the crashing. So that's all for the gameplay, guys, and that's all for the levels. To create more levels, you can also tweak all of this and you can make it look like this. As you can see here, I reduced the obstacles x-axis to 0.4 on the scale, so that if I increase this to, you can see it's increasing. You can make it long as an obstacle, you can make it very small as an obstacle. So that's what I did. So that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. This is a little bit fast. Thanks for everything, guys. Thank you. This is all for the gameplay video and the levels video. So in the next, no spoilers. Bye. So I almost forgot to add this part, making this player have these stripes that are here. So this is how it was in the game. This is what I made, and describing this, it has 3 spheres inside it. So this is the first one, and this is the second, and this is the third. So as you can see, all these are spheres. I just reduced the sizes to make them look small. So I'm going to delete this and then I'll make a new one. It's shout out time, guys. So thank you UT, thank you Alejandro Madrid, thank you Ma Mengote, thank you Lutana, thank you Timmy, thank you Nora, thank you Sam, thank you Rico. If I didn't pronounce your name correctly, please don't be angry. Thank you, guys. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your support. Later, guys.